Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and today I'm going to be bringing you a couple of tips on how to deal with Arch Tempered Velkhana. And look, I understand that the last couple of hunts that have been added into the game are extremely challenging. They have tight timers, and for hunters that are used to going into hunts with like comfortable sets like Chuck Full of Guard, Divine Blessing, and all kinds of other, safe skills, those are going to be very challenging hunts for you guys to overcome because you're not going to be pushing out enough damage to complete them in time. So you're going to have to adapt some of those sets. And I'm saying this because I've seen a lot of people complain about this. Why isn't it 50 minutes time limit like all of the other hunts that we've had? Because you guys need to understand something. Most of the hunts that we've had throughout Iceborne, and even to a certain extent, a lot of the hunts in Monster Hunter World, were not really hunts that challenged like the highest tier of hunters. And I'm not saying that I'm one of those people, not even close. I'm an average hunter at best, okay? But at the end of the day, Capcom can't just have their whole game be super accessible. At some point, they'll want to challenge their more dedicated hunters and to see what they can really do. And that's kind of what this last tier of updates has been for the game. Stuff like Alatreon, stuff like Fatalis, and now stuff like Arch Tempered Velkhana. I think considering that the game has, somewhere north of 60 plus monsters in it, I think it's okay for us to have like 3 or maybe 4 monsters that are a little bit harder than the rest of the roster. And I kind of talked about this before, right? And I hope that people, they see these monsters and they're like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to beat this thing. Like, this sucks. This game is bad. Like, I hope that's not the feeling that people get. Because like, if you still were able to defeat like, I don't know, however many monsters you were able to defeat, and you got to this final tier of monsters and you're still not there, but you're still trying, like, you shouldn't feel like this is artificial difficulty or anything like that. This is Capcom pushing, the higher tier of hunters to their limits. And in the case of Arch Tempered Velkhana, it's not even that hard compared to like Fatalis, which took some of the best hunters a couple of hours to actually get through and finally win, right? But anyway, having said that, I just want you guys to be understanding, and let's not do the nonsense that I've seen recently, which is like, you go back to Steam reviews, you see this a lot in Steam reviews, and it's like, oh, Alatreon came out, like a flood of negative reviews came out for the game because people are like, Alatreon, artificial difficulty, derp derp derp. Or, Fatalis comes out and then another flood of negative reviews. Like, do you guys not want to have the next Monster Hunter on Steam? Is that what you want? Because, that's eventually what you're going to get if you keep review bombing the game repeatedly. I mean, I doubt that they'll do that because Capcom was like, oh, whatever, bunch of casuals, screw them. But I do not like to see that attitude from the community. Now, look, it's not my place to tell people what to do. You're free to do whatever the hell you want. But it is my place to disagree with the fact that it's like, oh, this monster is unfair. I'm going to leave a negative review on Steam. I don't like that. I really don't like that. And when I see that stuff in my timeline, it kind of pisses me off. So anyway, now that we got that out of the way, let's actually talk about the monster. So Arch Tempered Velkhana, you're going to have to be aggressive, okay? I'm not going to be able to describe to you every single move that she's got, which is why I'm not calling this a guide. I'm calling this a tips video, because I can describe you all of her moves. I can tell you, oh, after she does her little roundup laser, she's going to go up in the air, then she's going to shoot her frost breath into the ground. She's going to do her circular AoE, but it's different from the traditional Velkhana circular AoE because you can actually dodge into this one the same way that you dodge into Alatreon's fire circle, which is really cool because it gives you an opening for the head. Like, is it really that useful for me to give you like this information on every single attack that she does? No, because what you're really going to have to do is you have to practice. You're going to have to get muscle memory for every single tell that she has, and me describing it to you and showing it to you in the video is not going to be super useful. Now, what is useful is for me to tell you, you want to try and stay as close to her as possible at all times. You do not want to be caught at a distance, because she has a lot of extremely deadly moves that she can cast far away, and they will get you and you'll die, basically. So a good idea, like a general rule of thumb, is you want to be slightly to the right of her head, your right when you're looking straight at her, so her left. You want to be usually positioned between that angle, because usually when she does her fire breath attack, it goes from our left to right when we're looking at her, so her right to left. So that's why it's important for you to be on the opposite side, so that whenever she does moves like that, it usually gives you an opening for you to go in there and dish out a little bit of damage. And usually if you're angled, to her left, our right, like if you're looking forward to her head, you want to be angled slightly to the right of her head and right on that sweet spot in the neck. That's a good spot for you to kind of like, always be aiming towards there, and you'll probably see that I do that a lot throughout the footage that I'm showing in this video. So keep that in mind. That's kind of like the sweet spot for you to be in. And then dodge a lot. Having evade window is something that I really like having in this fight. Naturally, this is going to vary depending on which weapon that you're playing. As you can see, I'm playing the sword and shield. An evade window is so juicy, but I think most weapons can kind of benefit from at least 3 points in evade window for this particular fight, because you're going to be able to evade a lot of her moves like this, and she does a lot of really fast moves, particularly with her tail, and if you're able to avoid those, you're going to be able to punish them. Now, I did talk specifically about her new AoE, like circular frost in the ground, to specify that it is kind of like Elatreon. So if you've done Elatreon, you know that he does the fire breath thing, and then like the middle portion explodes, and then the outward portions explode. And the reason why you really want to pay attention to that is because whenever she does that specific move, it's a massive opening for you to go in there and dish out some damage. So you wait until the first cluster explodes, you wait on the outside until the first cluster explodes, and you dodge inwards, and you should be able to dodge right through and get to her, and you'll be able to get a lot of uptime on the head. So that is one specific move that I do kind of bring up. I know I just said I wasn't going to bring specific moves, but that one is a massive opening, and she does it a lot, okay? So you want to make sure that you get in on that and that you get a lot of damage in there. Now, another one of her moves that I think is very important that you pay attention, and one of the reasons why you need to be close to her at all times, is her new laser breath, which you can kind of see like a big wind-up animation. She goes like, "Whoa," and then she just like fires a massive laser and starts like circling it around. Now, the reason it's important for you to stay close, because if you're far away, you're probably going to get caught by that, and that gives you like the Frost Fang style of like you're stuck in the ground and you can barely move. If you're close enough though, and you stick to the side that I told you, you can kind of circle around behind her, and you'll be able to dodge everything of that beam, and at the same time you might even be able to hit her. Again, this is going to require a lot of practice, because depending on the moveset of your weapon, certain weapons moves will put you in peril, so you have to see which moves you can do while she's doing this circular breath attack to to avoid getting hit. Because if you get hit by that attack, it's like 90% chance that you're going to die, because you're going to be stuck in that animation of like trying to get rid of the ice, and then she's going to do her circular AoE that I just talked about, and she's going to kill you. So try to always stay around that spot that I told you, and like circle around whenever she does her laser. And remember, immediately after her laser, always she does the circular AoE thing on the ground. So move slightly away from the middle, wait for the middle one to pop, roll into it, and boom, you have a nice little opening on her head. Now, she has a lot of the same other moves that the regular Velkhana has. So like the icicles coming down on you and all of that jazz, you should be able to dodge that by now if you have any practice with Velkhana. She has a new move where she does like these AoEs on the ground that just kind of like spread out and do a chunk of damage. So basically, whenever you see her channel her breath, look to the ground. Look to the ground and see, is there like a new white little circle forming beneath me? Probably a danger zone. Dodge. Do not run, dodge. I mean, depending on the weapon that you have. Some weapons will not be able to dodge it, but, you know, do your best to dodge that thing. That's, again, where evade window really comes in handy. You want to really dodge that, because a lot of times you'll be able to evade through it, whereas sometimes if you go straight in for a run, you're probably going to get hit, and there's a high chance that you will take either massive damage and even die. She is incredibly deadly. She does a ton of damage. Divine Blessing Secret is probably a good skill to bring, but, you know, personally, I prefer to go with Tool Specialist Secret. It lets me have a lot of mantles. Sorry, I smacked the microphone there. I'm getting real excited. But, so yeah, you got all of those moves. So now let's talk about, before you actually go into the fight itself, a couple of things that you can do. First and foremost, do not bring a fire weapon. I know. Sounds very counterintuitive. I myself went in there first time with a fire weapon. Do not bring a fire weapon, okay? Let me say that again to make sure for the people on the back to understand. Do not bring a fire weapon. So what weapon do you want to bring? You want to bring a dragon weapon with high Elder Seal. Elder Seal is going to be the key to you winning this fight. As a matter of fact, it is so important that just me swapping a little thing around that I'll tell you in a couple of seconds increased the time that I was killing her by like, decreased the time that I was killing her by like, I don't know, 6 to 7 minutes. Okay, so high Elder Seal is very important, because as you are fighting her, she's going to get this aura, and the aura that she does it appears to have like several tiers to it. So the more the fight lasts and you don't Elder Seal her, she is going to deal more damage and receive less damage. So Elder Seal is potentially the most important thing for you to have during this fight. As a matter of fact, if you have the option of bringing at least one friend and both of you bring Elder Seal high, this fight is going to feel like a cakewalk, like a literal walk in the park. I know that there's a lot of people that want to solo her. I got a tip for you there as well. But if you just bring two people, like it's such a massive difference. It's a literal walk in the park because you'll constantly Elder Seal her. You never see your damage getting nerfed and you just beat the crap out of her. Now, I know that not everyone has Fatalis weapons yet. So if you don't have one and you want to fight her and you have to fight her, then bring Ruiner Gigante, okay? Because that also has Elder Seal high. I would not advise bringing an average Elder Seal because you really want to see as many procs of that thing as possible. And I hate Elder Seal, okay? When the guy that hates Elder Seal is telling you to bring Elder Seal, you should bring Elder Seal, okay? The reason I don't like it is because I feel it's too RNG and it's annoying and it never procs. Damn thing, I hate it. But anyway, bring Elder Seal to the fight. Besides that, you can bring Feline Mox. You can have your Palico bring healing if you're soloing. And another thing, bring an Elder Seal weapon on your Palico as well. As a matter of fact, if you're soloing, bring Mulatov Cocktail, assuming that you level it up with an Elder Seal weapon. That helps immensely because it'll make your Elder Seal proc more often due to the simple fact that your Palico is attacking him constantly with an Elder Seal weapon. So again, I cannot overstate the importance of Elder Seal in this fight. Do you understand me? Elder Seal, Elder Seal, Elder Seal. I need to stop talking about that. I think you guys get the idea by now, right? So that is going to greatly reduce the time of the hunt. In terms of mantles, you have to be really careful because a lot of people are probably like, oh, I'll take Temporal Mantle. I personally do not advise Temporal Mantle. And let me explain why. She has a move where if you're clutched on her head with either Temporal or Rocksteady, she will charge forward. Well, not even just her head. If you're clutched anywhere on her, she will charge forward and you will get insta-pinned regardless of the status of your temporal. Like if you literally just equip the temporal and you clutch to her and she does this move, she burns through the entirety of your temporal instantly. Like you don't even hear the, you know when you hear the sounds like of like the temporal proccing? Not even that. You hear one sound, boom, temporal is gone and you're in the ground pinned. Same thing happens with Rocksteady, with the difference that you don't lose the Rocksteady effect. But either way, if you get pinned like that, there's a high probability that you're going to get killed immediately after because it takes you a while to get back up, and she will do like some kind of a breath attack that will just like utterly destroy you. So I do not recommend Temporal. If you want to bring Temporal, go right ahead, do whatever the hell you want, you're free. One of those that like if you're not comfortable with the fight, Iceproof Mantle, I find to be really good. It reduces a lot of her ice damage, in my opinion. Another thing that's also very useful is bringing at least Ice Resistance 20. If you bring Ice Resistance 20, you will never get blighted. You will never get blighted with Ice Resistance 20, okay? Even if she does the more powerful breath that like, you know, glues you and all that stuff, you still don't get blighted. Like you still get slowed down and eventually you will die, but you do not get blighted. So a hard Ice Deco is very, very good for this fight, at least in my opinion, you know, because I know that people will probably be doing this fight with sticky cheese, but that's not what we do here, right? So, other than that, it's just like you got to be aggressive. You really got to be aggressive. You got to bring offensive skills. You got to bring Agitator. You got to bring attack if you can. You got to bring Critical Eye. You got to bring Weakness Exploit, Critical Boost. You gotta be offensive. You got to stay on the offensive the entire time. Because again, you got 30 minutes. You got 30 minutes to bring her down, and she's got a chunk of health. She's got more health than you expect from a Velkhana. She really does, because she's Arch Tempered, she's supposed to be more challenging, etc., yada, yada, yada. So keep those things in mind, and then go in there, and like I said, because at the end of the day, all of these tips, they're useless unless you go in there and practice, because you're going to have to be able to practice to the point where you know all of her moves by head. You need to get muscle memory because she is, in my opinion, the fastest monster in the game right now. She's like straight up doped up on speed and steroids. She's super fast and deals a crap ton of damage. She does have a couple of hits that will one-shot you if you're not ready for them, which is why I would also recommend the same tactic that I recommended in my Fatalis guide, which if you want, you can go watch that guide, because at the start I talk about this. Bring max potions. Do not expect to survive this fight if you're relying mostly on regular potions. Hell, even in the video that you guys are watching, I carded twice before I actually killed her. And this is my best run so far, which is like 18 minutes or whatever. So there you go. Those are kind of like the tips that I can give you right now. I'm sure that eventually someone will come up with a more cheesy strat or whatever. But yeah, this should be pretty much doable for most weapons. I'll show you guys my build on screen right now, the build that I'm using for this fight. And you can see that it's basically as offensive as it gets using Fatalis. It's going to be hard if you don't have a Fatalis set, because again, this is an endgame monster, Arch Tempered Velkhana, and they're not messing around. But other than that, just enjoy the fight. It is, at the end of the day, still a fun fight. I still enjoyed it. She does break a couple of rules here and there that you're not used to seeing from monsters. Like, for instance, you know how sometimes you slap a monster and it gets enraged, but you can still flinch shot it? You can't do that with Velkhana. If she enrages while you slap her, she'll just move away. She doesn't give a damn. She also appears to ignore Gajalaka traps, the firing squadrons, and the Boa Boa firing squadrons. She seems to ignore those a lot of times. I don't know if that's intended, if that's a bug. Like, I've seen one time where she was down, I think it might even be the attempt that I'm uploading right now, where she was actually downed by the Boa Boas or whatever. But I've also seen a lot of tries where, you know, it triggers the trap and she does not get down. She continues attacking you. She's taking the damage from the Boa Boas or the Gajalakas or whatever, but she just carries on attacking like it's none of her business. So keep that in mind. And, you know, at the end, if you have a chance to flinch shot her, you know, flinch shot her as much as you can. At the start of the actual engagement, drop the rocks on top of her. You probably saw that at the start of this video. So drop those 2 rocks on top of her, also very useful. But other than that, guys, practice. So remember, Elder Seal, be aggressive. Put Elder Seal on your Palico if you're soloing. If you have a friend, both of you bring high Elder Seal and go to town. Enjoy the hunt. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if it helped you out in any way, hit the like button. If you did not enjoy it, hit the dislike button. Feedback is important. If you usually enjoy my content, subscribe, bell notification icon, all of that jazz. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. I'm not sure if that's the second time I'm saying that. I'm super sleep deprived, but I love you anyway. Peace out, team.